welcome. This is NC Debrief coming to you from News Central. Now, the Debrief brings Africa's top social stories into focus through compelling analysis and perspectives every week. With our guests, we dissect the most pressing issues and look out for angles and opinions that are not in the mainstream. I'm Tolulokwe Adeleru Balogun, and today we're looking at the social phenomenon of Big Brother Naija. Why should we care, or should we even care? Joining me today, I have Eniola Tito. He's a YouTube content creator and a contributor for Olori Supergirl. Eniola, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I also have award-winning author Tony Khan. He's the author of a collection of short stories, Nights of a Creaking Bed, as well as a public relations expert. Tony, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so gentlemen, we'll get into it. Just a quick bit of background for you on Big Brother Naija. It is a reality show based on the Big Brother television franchise, and the first season was in 2006. There was a long hiatus until the show returned in 2017. Now, anytime it's on air, it has the ears, the eyes, and the time of many people in and outside of Nigeria. Trending on Twitter, Nigeria, every day of the show, and very often trending in other African countries as well. There is always something to talk about. Some important conversations have come up from it, like the one about consent, which led to Kemen's disqualification. The one about verbal abuse after the long rant by Cece that was directed at Toby, and more. People have also talked about sexual freedom and the way we perceive sexually active women. In a way, it's like we live our lives by watching other adults on TV. So before we get into our conversation, News Central hit the streets and we talked to Nigerians as to why they watch, whether they watch.
Within months or days, just because they are confined in a place, I see the things I shouldn't be or the things I should be from these characters I watch. So because it's just a real life experience.
Yes, I watch Big Brother Nigeria. I find their conversations interesting because between the housemates, there are people coming from different walks of life, meeting there, getting to know each other. So it's like a process. And sometimes when you look at it, you can put yourself in that space, that situation, like what you would do, especially when they're faced with tasks. So that's why I find it like, because it can be engaging, can be competitive. I like competition. So sometimes being in that head-to-head match, seeing how you can relate in that situation, even in real life analysis, yeah, I find it interesting.
The show has never for once had any impact in the society. It's just for entertainment. So basically everybody just goes to the house to entertain people and make money.
I actually think we do spend too much time on the show because for the previous edition, there was a particular time when they were meant to make an announcement at the dead of the night, around 3 a.m. and it was on a Sunday. They got people on Sunday around 3 a.m. up in the middle of the night watching the show for that announcement. And these people, most of them had jobs to go to, had things to do on that day, on a Monday. So I really do think that people spend too much time that they could have spent on some other quality activity.
All right, so we've heard from a few Nigerians who watch Big Brother as to why they watch and what's in it for them. So let's start this conversation about Big Brother Naija and should we care? Now, Tony, I'm going to start with you. One of the biggest criticisms of Big Brother Naija has been that it is a distraction. Many have said that there are bigger issues for Nigerians to focus on in terms of discussing poverty, education issues, unemployment, and even some of the more trending issues of the day. Sometimes it's the SARS issue, sometimes it's rape. But do you agree with this criticism that it ends up distracting us from having more necessary and immediate conversations?
No, I mean, I don't agree at all. I mean, if you look at the viewing pattern, number of viewers, number of voters, that means people want it. It's clear. I mean, so if it was distracting them, they won't be watching. So I think that people are looking for means of escape, things to do to forget the pressing issues of the day, as it were. Yeah. So they're looking at young people in the house and watching them with their shenanigans and, escaping vicariously to them, So I don't think we're distracted. I don't think people don't want to watch Big Brother. I think they do. I mean, if not, who's voting for them? Who's spending all that money to vote? I mean, this is the time that multi-choice gets the highest subscribers. Yeah. So people want it. It's a product that people are consuming, and if they didn't consume it, then they won't do it.
So sort of like a supply and demand situation.
Yes.
All right, Eniola, do you agree with him? Because he talks about Nigerians actually needing this distraction from the reality of our everyday lives, and we run to reality television or we run to whatever is popular. But there's also a bit of interest in terms of why are we so interested in watching other people's lives play out?
I don't know, maybe just social science. It's interesting. I mean, when you watch TV, when you watch shows, you're essentially watching make-believe, or you're watching people live a life that you don't live. And I think Big Brother kind of falls under that category. But to touch on what you and Mr. Tony just spoke about it being a distraction, I have been wondering that if Big Brother was on, well, you know, last week there were a few things that happened in the news.
Yes.
You know, I think through social media, a few things were able to be achieved. I think even spilled into this week. So I even wonder if Big Brother was actually happening, you know, simultaneously, would there have been as much attention to those things? So yeah, we don't know, but I do agree it can be a bit of a distraction, but I also agree that it's a demand and supply issue. And if something is important, it's important, regardless of what's happening elsewhere. If there's a show like Big Brother that is popular and that's going on, and there are issues, societal issues like rape or whatnot that need to be addressed, they can exist simultaneously and get the necessary attention.
Do you agree with that, though? Because he raises an interesting point. If we had Big Brother last year when the Busola Dakolo situation had come out, as well as another rape case now in Abuja, and people were able to mobilize and go and protest, do you really think, in the context of having Big Brother live and present at that time, the necessary attention would have been played to some of these stories? Yes,
I mean, I don't think that Big Brother would have kept the issues of the day out of our focus. Because, see, right now, if you live in the world right now, right, you are constantly under a barrage of things, from Twitter to Facebook to Instagram and the rest of them. So how do you manage to put them all in compartments or this? So I think we also have a compartment for Big Brother. I'm not going to spend my hours watching Big Brother, right? because I mean, I publish an online newspaper. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm a writer. I'm engaged in what happens in the zeitgeist. So I want to know what's going on. But I'm not going to spend hours doing that. You know, I can look at the digest and see what happens. I mean, during the day. But I have a keen interest in knowing what happens there because I'm a writer, right? I deal with people. And this whole issue of Big Brother has not, I mean, it's been there from day one.
Yeah.
Right? I remember that when it first happened in France, they actually stormed the house and tried to set them free. Right? In 2003, when they did the first one in Africa, Professor Soyinka and the Motor Show had a big spat, you know, where they were saying, one against and one for it. So it will never end. I don't think that the morality police determines what people consume. If not, there will be no porn industry, right? So once there's demand for something, people will consume it and people will produce it. Yeah.
Let's get into this morality issue, because it is one of the debates that constantly comes up when Big Brother Naija or any Big Brother is on air. And particularly for African societies or Nigerian society, which prides itself on being very moralistic, and we have culture and we have values and we expect our people to act a certain way. Then you see young people get into a house and sometimes show you that those morals and values are not exactly what we think it to be. Do you think we can sort of extrapolate some of the things that happen in the house to sort of throw something on the larger Nigerian society at hand? Eniola, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, the people in the Big Brother house, they didn't bring them from, you know,
from
somewhere else. From Mars. They are Nigerians. They're Nigerians like us, and they're in the house doing what they normally do, just in front of cameras. Last year there was, you know, there are one or two issues of people getting rather physical, intimately physical in the house. I think through the years, the Big Brother producers have tried in terms of not showing certain things. In the early days, they would show it all.
Shower hour was notorious.
It was notorious back in the days. It was very popular. But now they don't show it anymore. So they have tried to censor and, you know, manage themselves because of pressure, but because it's the responsible thing to do. But one can only, the censorship is up to them, the producers, the government or the authorities, and as well the viewers, to know what will fly and what won't fly. So the morality issue, we're all sharing in that responsibility and in that blame, if there is any. And lastly, you know, Nigerians, it's said that, you know, we can be a certain way outside and a different way inside. So yeah, that's just why I stand on the issue.
Do you agree with him? You mentioned the morality police, and I think before we came on air, we were talking about it. If you don't want to watch, set parental locks or simply just don't watch. But what you find is many people who are opponents of the show want it completely taken off the airwaves.
Well, I mean, as a writer, I mean, I won't support that. I mean, because that would be
Censorship.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not for censorship of any kind. I mean, if you see a book that you think is immoral, then don't read it, don't buy it. Don't tell me what to write or tell somebody what to write. And I don't think we also have the right to tell NMO or multi-choice what to show. 2003, I remember that people were coming late to work. I remember clearly because they were staying back from shower. You know, and I mean these are the people who go to church on Sundays and come back. So,
and raise holy hands.
So they were catching their feelings, you know, before going to work in the morning and going to work late, even though that's what they were being paid to be able to afford DSTV to watch Big Brother. But I mean, it's just funny that I think that Big Brother, I mean, we should look at it as a unique sociological, experiment, right? That shows us how people behave in close proximity under such light. So you come into the house, the first few days you're a bit on your guard because you know you're being woke. But after 4 or 5 days,
you can't keep that guard up.
Your guard, you know, you let your guard down, and then you become your real self. And that is what I think that people should study. How do people, you know, respond, you know, in close proximity when they think that nobody's watching, you know, and that will happen. So this is what this book would be like if they were at home with nobody watching them, right? So in that sense, I look at it from that sociological point of view that we are seeing how Nigerian youth at this particular time, you know, relate to each other and what their interests are. Apart from, beyond that, this Big Brother whole thing has brought up also a whole new industry. And look at Ebuka, for instance. Before Big Brother, who was Ebuka? Utimwachuku, you know,
Bisola.
Yeah, they would have made, maybe they're taking them 10 years.
Yeah.
But Big Brother just 90 days.
Yeah.
And then you become, you know, something that you become a celebrity, as they say. You become a slayer, as they say. So, or a slave queen or whatever. So look at Sisi. I have no idea what Sisi does for a living, but
she's obviously doing something.
She's getting a new car or something. Then look at all the musicians who play at this event. Look at all the people they hire, the writers they hire. So, we look at it from one point of view that it's corrupting people, but it's an industry. It's
providing jobs.
On a whole large scale. So I think that we shouldn't just have this vision of it as a moral or immoral thing, but you know, as something that impacts us on different levels.
There are 2 points you raised, and I want us to deal with that. And I think one I'll start with is sort of, is this our Cinderella story? Because you have situations where people get into the house, and we can go back to, I think this would be about 2 seasons ago, Efe, who had his grass to grace story, who I'd be, who spoke about, you know, being on the streets, and some days Gary even being too expensive for his family. Then we had Miracle, who told us that he wanted to use his prize money for aviation, and that's exactly what he's done. But as you said, you have so many people who go into the house, and some of them are very successful in being able to parlay the attention from Big Brother into careers, whether it's in music, whether it's in movies, or being an ambassador apparently now is a career, being a band ambassador. But in terms of, does it sell genuine, true hope? Because the slots to get in are limited. Only one person can truly win. So are we not selling almost a fake, unrealistic Cinderella story to the millions of young people? Because let's think back to the videos and the pictures we saw of all those people who were climbing the fences, fainting, in February. So all of that for one person to emerge, even though at the end more people can be successful than just the winner. Are we not selling a fake Cinderella story?
I don't think so. I think, and that's since Big Brother has been, there's a precedent. It's been around for several years.
Yes.
And now people have seen that it's not just the person who wins the final prize money that makes it big.
Big Brother, X Factor, all of them.
All those shows, you know.
There's something called Big Brother After Dark in the US now.
Really? Wow, that's for the grown folk. So, it gives them a platform to further their dreams and their ambitions. Most of the winners, you don't even remember. Efe, we haven't heard from him. We know he won.
Yeah.
But
he sings, he raps.
Well, let's not even talk about it. Let's not cause controversy. But my point is, even though Ebuka didn't win his season.
No, he's not.
And look at Ebuka today. Bisola didn't win her season. Look at Toby and Sisi didn't win their season. Look at them today.
True.
So when people go for the auditions, it's a platform. When they go for the auditions, they know fully well that I may not win this year. The prize money is this is something that the Nigerian government has not done. Big Brother have an agenda for the youth, and
Do
people
they,
are benefiting.
or an agenda of profit?
Well, profits, but the youth are also profiting.
I mean, but,
Are we sure about
see,
that?
I mean, you can knock it all you want, right? But we all play. I mean, people buy lottery tickets every day.
Yes.
Sure.
Right? How many people win? So I mean,
keep
the
playing.
Big Brother thing is a lottery, right? And I mean, when you play lottery, one person going to get, I mean, the jackpot,
Yeah.
right? That's it. So people might win 10,000, 20,000, but somebody always gets the jackpot, and it's not all the time. So,
Okay.
so I mean, America, you might have somebody win $120 million
At once.
in 2 or 3 years, but it happens, right?
Yeah.
So Big Brother for me is like that, right? So, but it's not that it provides 24 people right now in the house,
21.
21, you know, a platform for 21 people to sell themselves.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
we'll talk
yeah.
about the selling of our. That didn't sound right. We'll talk about the selling or using of the platform of Big Brother Naija when we come back. We'll take a quick break. I'm stuck on that 60 million prize money that Eniola said, and I'm thinking, am I in the wrong business? Should I have been trying to jump a fence? But we also need to talk about those who jumped the fence and those who actually made it into the house. We'll be back. You're watching NC Debrief. I still have Eniola Tito with me, as well as Tony Khan, and we're discussing Big Brother Naija, should we care? Now, right before we had that break, we talked about the 60 million Naira prize money for this year, but before that, there was also conversation as to who went for the auditions and who actually made it inside the house. And for me, it sort of comes back, it circles back to an idea of what are we selling to the youth, what the agenda is. And truly, at the end of the day, is this a false Cinderella story? The gentlemen don't agree with some of the people's, some of the opinions on that. But let's quickly take a look at who made it into the house. Now, there has been criticism again of who has made it into the house. A lot of accent things going on, spree, fan, you know. And people have said these people that they're seeing on screen are not the people who were jumping the fence, who were fainting, and in some instances, you know, literally begging on social media to find a way into the Big Brother house. Do you think this is a valid criticism? Some say that Big Brother has spots and they have people they're going to put into those spots, and then the rest of you are just left, thank you, the rest of you are just left to find your way. Should we care about that at the end of the day, or just be worried about who entertains us? Eniola?
I don't know. I mean, one would like to think that these things are free and fair, in the sense that if you come for the auditions, it's only those who come for the audition that will get in. But, you know, I mean, for example, there's a gentleman, Mike, from the UK. He's a high jumper, an athlete, and on Twitter, in the first 2 days, somebody's typed that, do you mean to tell me that this Manchester guy with all his everything came to that Lagos to do audition
queued in that queue
and, you know, endured that hell with the rest of us? That, come on. And then there's also a girl, Kathy, who is a police officer at Metropolitan Police in the UK. She was there as well. So, I mean, there are questions that nobody can really answer right now, but there are some people who have, for sure, by their accounts, were at the auditions. So I'm on one hand, I want to say DSTV reserves the right to
bring
pick
anyone in,
but then they should state it at the beginning that we reserve the right.
So in 2009, 2007 or 8, I was part of those who produced Apprentice Africa.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So, and I remember when we went to New York and came back from New York, there was something they called the Bible, which is like all the rules
for the show.
So,
yeah.
I mean, this is psychology and sociology at play, right? So, all the people that get into the house, they have to have, you know, clear characteristics that will make for good drama in the house. But that said, I mean, I think that, multi-choice might face some integrity issues next time, because this time around it's so clear that most of the people who got in didn't do the auditions. And I mean, this issue came up during the auditions that people are doing this, but they will pick. It was on Twitter. They're going to pick who they want to pick and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think so maybe you want to create drama. You want to have the right people there. There's no problem about it because it's still TV. It has to be compelling and dramatic. But then you may have to now share the slots so that some people will see doing the hustle and the grind end up on screen. Because if you do it like this, where everybody will see on screen, out of 21, only 4 or 5 were at audition, then you're bringing down the level of
competitiveness, fair play,
and the probability of success on audition. So and they even did an online audition afterwards.
And then
so I mean, it's good for us to watch. It's good for us to have the right people in the house. But then people are hopeful. I mean, and then you dash their hopes, and it's like, okay, why bother? So next time you may not have. Because I know somebody came to me to borrow money to go to Ibadan.
Wow.
Yes.
For the audition?
Yeah. Because he said the trip in Ibadan will be easier for him than Lagos.
Than Lagos.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Wow.
All right, there's a quick point I want us to touch on because we'll start wrapping up. But at the end of last year's season, it was revealed that over 170 million votes were cast in the course of the season. Now, 30 million of those came in the final week, which was 30 naira per vote. Now, some have compared this number to the number of Nigerians who participated in February's presidential election. There were over 84 million registered voters before the election, and when Nigerians finally voted, only 26.5 million people cast their votes. Is this a fair comparison or a fair juxtaposition of a situation in which we find ourselves, or is it apples and oranges? Should we even try to see if there's a correlation between the two?
There is none. I mean, so if you have 170 million votes for Big Brother, right? These are multiple votes.
Yeah.
They're not like
singular 111.
So it's like I voted last week, I voted this. So I mean, it doesn't add up to 170 million people. And also, it's far easier to vote for Big Brother than to vote for Nigerian elections.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
can we repeat that?
Yes, it is far easier to vote for. It is far easier to vote for Big Brother than to vote for Nigerian because one, I mean, all the wahala of going to get your PVC and not finding it and stuff.
Suspended or delayed elections.
Imagine if we all voted with our phones.
Online.
We would have had over 80 million people voting.
Yeah.
100 million. But the whole logistics of, okay, I registered in Benin, I can't vote in Lagos, doesn't come up with Big Brother. So, I mean, comparing them doesn't even make sense at all, at all.
Do you agree with him?
I agree. It's the total, like you said, apples and oranges. I didn't even factor in the fact that somebody can vote multiple times, and that would add up to the cumulative amount. There's that, and then there's the voter apathy as well.
Yes.
The people just generally answered that. Well, in this last election anyway, weren't as interested in the elections as they are with something like Big Brother. And that is for a myriad of reasons. But it's not necessarily fair to compare both of them. But something should be done. I wish there was more participation in the last general elections than there was.
All right, so we're going to wrap up with me asking the question that is the basis of this conversation. Big Brother Naija is back. It's been 1 week. They've been doing what it is they do in 1 week. They're showing themselves. Some people have started sort of coming out of the gates as front runners, at least in this period now. But at the long run, should we care? Tony, you've talked about the creation of jobs. You've talked about, of course, censorship, if that became an issue, but it's not an issue as far as we know it right now. And Ella, you've, of course, talked, and Ella has been in the house. If you guys don't know, he has backstage information, behind the scenes information. But we've talked about, of course, the moral issues around it as well. So very simple question to you, gentlemen, as we wrap things up. Tony, Big Brother Naija, should we care?
Yes. Poverty will never cease. SARS harassment will never cease. The government failing us will never cease. Insecurity will never cease. So if you have 1 hour in a day to just forget all your problems and let it all go and just be distracted, go for it.
Eniola?
I think we should. I think there's so much to be learned from Big Brother. The government, for one, can learn how to engage the youth and just get them busy and to just let them know what they want them to do, to have an agenda for the youth and communicate it to them. So they can learn that from it. And also the show is not as empty as vapid as people think. I've been watching and they engage in so many team building and team bonding games. There are leadership things that they engage into for who become the next head of house.
Yes.
For example, yesterday, Big Brother said nobody should talk.
Yeah.
Be in the house, nobody should talk. And they came up with all sorts of creative ways to
communicate.
They played games and whatnot. So I believe there's so much to be learned from, you know, a production standpoint, from the government standpoint, and even from us, the viewers. There's so much to be learned, and we shouldn't sleep on it the way we have been for so long.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We've been on the NC Debrief talking about Big Brother Naija, Should We Care? My guests today have been award-winning author Tony Khan, as well as Eniola Tito. He's a YouTube content creator and a contributor for Olori Supergal. You can always go to our Twitter timeline at News Central TV and let us know what you think. I know we have some comments there, but unfortunately we weren't able to take them right now. It's also available for you on Facebook, and we have more behind-the-scenes content for you on our Instagram page. But don't forget, our website is also there, www.newscentral.ng. Till the NC Debrief comes your way next time, I remain Tolulokwe Adileru Balogun. Have a great day.